Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, will Prime Minister Perry Christie run again? We've got the details, so stay tuned.
Also tonight, the provisions which give legs to disabled legislation.
And exploring the possibilities of oil in the Bahamas. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks for joining us on The Bahamas Tonight.
Topping the news, Prime Minister Perry Christie has thwarted queries seeking to confirm his political future, declining to say whether or not he'll be seeking another term in office.
He told ZNS News today that he's aware of the curiosity over the matter and that a decision won't be made in a vacuum. Here's Janae Noel Ferguson.
Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie says he knows his political future has been brought into question, but he says he's not distracted by the noise in the market and he has one mission, and that is to continue the work for Bahamians. Will you be running again during the next election?
That's not important to me now. You see, the fact is that people keep on talking about whether I'm running again. You know who decides whether I run again? Firstly, me and my family. Secondly, the people, the members of parliament and the political organizations throughout the country.
Now, in the lead up to the 2012 general elections, Mr. Christie, now 70, often noted that after this term in office, he would have served 40 years in the political arena. He often suggested that this would be his last term in office. But Chairman of the PLP, Bradley Roberts, had also commented that if former Prime Minister Hewitt Ingram returned to politics, all bets were off. This as religious leader Dr. Miles Monroe suggests that the political leadership should recognize that its time is over and to identify suitable replacements. And while there's been no word on Mr. Ingram's future, Mr. Christie says his work doesn't stop for rumor.
I see people are saying I am running again. That's fine. They're able to say that. I'm now running to get results for the Progressive Liberal Party government. That's what I'm running for. I'm running full speed all the time. And I have not taken a day off since the elections. I'm driving the government in this regard. There are going to be people who make mistakes in the process. We will have to correct those mistakes, but we are moving forward resolutely to deliver what we promised the people of this country.
Now, Mr. Christie also addressed concerns reported by opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who's called for an early election.
Never ask for in politics what you can't handle. That's the first thing. He does not have the capacity at this stage to even dream of something like that. That's the first point. That's just a political response by me. If you ask me to comment on it, I'll comment on what he has to say, but he knows when he says it, he's not ready for it. It is just in a vacuum. It's a silly statement to make because everybody in the Bahamas knows he's not ready for it.
The Prime Minister said his government remains focused on their mandate of tackling crime and revitalizing the economy. Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
It was a banner day for people living with disabilities in the Bahamas as an historic bill was passed in Parliament to protect the rights of those in that community. Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie, during his wrap-up of the debate, leaned on his experience as a parent of an autistic child and talked about the legislation being near and dear to him. The Prime Minister looked to those disabled persons in the gallery, speaking to the challenges that they face and speaking to parents and the ordeal they face with raising children who are disabled. That aside, the Prime Minister once again promised resources and personnel, along with following through with plans for post-school age facilities for persons with disabilities. And although the bill is now law, the Prime Minister says it's still a work in progress.
To the disabled community, wherever you may be, as you get to know the contents of this bill and your rights, we're going to depend on you and your experiences to tell us what else we have to do. You see, because we're going to find that no matter how exact we work, and how comprehensive we thought we were, that there's going to be a need to examine the legislation and allow the circumstances, the living circumstances and experiences of persons who are disabled to inform public policy wherever it is necessary for the changes that might have to come about.
The Bahamas becomes only the second country in the region to legislate disabled rights. Member of Parliament for Yamacraw, Minister of Social Services and Community Development, the Honourable Melanie Griffin, says this bill is but another step in the right direction by the government to creating a fully inclusive society.
They're walking on the sidewalk. Sometimes they meet cars on the side, parked on the sidewalk. Sometimes they meet vendors blocking the sidewalks. And so they have to oftentimes step down into the street. And then they begin to get all kinds of signs. People don't know that they really can't see. But they get all kinds of signs and all kinds of shouts at them because people do not appreciate and do not honor and do not seem to know. And sometimes some just don't seem to care that those sidewalks are so important for the safety of persons with disabilities.
Now, opposition members are in full support of the bill. Free National Movement member for Long Island, Loretta Butler Turner, called on members of the public to be more considerate of the disabled.
First of all, it's important that we must realize that once this bill is passed, I expect that there should be no discrimination against persons of disabilities to even not just vote, but to be able to stand for public office and to one day be able to sit in this place as a member of parliament, as a prime minister, as anything that they hope to become. Because that is probably the most important thing when we talk about full equality and equal opportunity society.
Well, as you saw, there was an overflow in the House of Assembly this morning as government began debate on this landmark bill. Enthusiastic members of the disabled community who couldn't access the House were given an equal opportunity to witness the debate underneath a comfortable tent via a large screen TV. While they could have viewed it at home, Kaylee Sherroll and Anton Monroe said it was important for them to be there.
So enthusiastic, so when oh Jesus, Lord, I just thank you because you didn't have to spare my life, Lord, but I thank you. When I heard all those ministers, speaking on behalf of the bill and what it has to offer, my heart burst. I wanted to cry in some aspect because I didn't thought they knew actually about the bill. So this is like a rejoicing time for me.
I want to commend the government for a job well done, and I know this is just the beginning, and I am really excited to be here, and I'm excited that there are more things that will come on stream.
In other news this evening, there are a number of companies who may have expressed an interest in oil exploration in this country. However, the Environment Minister says there's really only one company who has had his foot in the door since 2008 under the previous administration. Our Charisma Robinson tells us about the license application that was recently gazetted and whether government is now interested in furthering its position on oil exploration.
As the possibility of oil exploration in this country cannot be ignored, Environment Minister Kendra Dorsett says he's pleased with the progress his ministry has made with its draft legislation within the last 30 days.
It's going to be comprised of 5 new bills that we'll be bringing to the House, and I'm hoping that over the summer months we'll be able to complete the drafts so that we can then obviously have the matter considered by Cabinet and begin the public consultation.
But the minister says if oil exploration in this country is to be pursued, he has to ensure that it's pursued responsibly. While there have been a number of companies which have expressed interest, Dorsett says there's only really one license application that was recently gazetted.
Whenever there's an application that is made to the government of the Bahamas, it requires a process where the area under consideration is gazetted as a part of the public consultation process, so that those out there can indicate to the government one way or another what concerns or issues they may have. The gazetting was as a result of an application that was submitted to the government back in 2008, I believe that it was, where monies were paid to us for license applications, and so we're just completing the application process. Once all of the gazetting is complete, all of the contributions have been made, then it's a matter that will be advanced to Cabinet.
The minister says in the meantime, government is still working to ensure that a certain level of capacity is in place to deal with this new industry.
The Commonwealth Secretariat has been engaged. They've been helping us with the regulations, the draft laws that we intend to advance. But we are not aggressively, or even at this point, my ministry is not out there soliciting companies to come forth in this sector.
And he says they certainly will not be doing that until proper legislation regime is in place to ensure that when they do advance it, it's done responsibly. Charisma Robinson, ZNS Network News.
Murder-accused Alicia Smith outlined a case of abuse to police hours after killing a boyfriend. We'll tell you all about it.
Found dead on a farm yesterday. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.